And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots.
Watch for the great block by Keith Byars on Pepper Johnson. Yeah, right there. Byars just nailed it.
He's Dayton's own Keith Byars. It's the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken on Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes, 1410 ESPN Radio.
Welcome. You're listening to the Keith Byars Radio Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Phone number to call, 937-457-9464. One more time, 937-457-9464. Well, and you get me on Twitter also. I'm following you. You can follow me on Twitter at KB41 and send me your questions, comments, concerns. Well, can you believe it is February? The month of January is gone. We were just celebrating, the new year. I mean, I guess it was a celebration because it was a social distance celebration for most folks. And we was like, let's get 2020 behind us. Well, it is officially behind us. It's been that way for over 31 days now. And so 2020 is in our rearview mirror. January came and went before we knew it. And here we are in February. Black History Month, by the way. Today is February, Black History Month. So that's awesome. But the year is going. So no more looking back at 2020. It's over. We're fresh into 2021. Let's make the most of this year. Let's make this year even better than last year, which shouldn't be hard to do. But let's keep our positive forward. Like I said, tear your rearview mirror off. Forget looking back. Let's continue to press ahead on this coming year, where we are at. Guys, what's going to happen this week? Well, there's no football this weekend to talk about. We're not going to talk about that virtual Pro Bowl, whatever that was. I probably watched 5 minutes of it, and I was like, well, okay. All right. Hey, you guys made the Pro Bowl. Kudos. Congratulations to you. It's awesome. It's good to have on your resume. But it's not the same as going to Hawaii the week after the Super Bowl. They're celebrated, but I don't want to get into that. Let that go. NFL has been a buzz, all weekend long with the announced trade of the Rams and the Lions, the trading quarterbacks, Matthew Stafford for Jared Goff. We're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk, this is a local show that we talk a lot of national issues about, but we're going to talk some local, we talk local issues, but not as much. So I'm going to focus on some of that today. Local high school basketball season, the winter sports, and some of the Ohio High School Athletic Association rules, concerning this academics, your academic sports calendar has been affected. And even one of our local products here, West Carrollton basketball player by the name of Alan Lattimore. We're going to talk about that some, today. But where do I begin? So many things to talk about, but I'm going to start with, since it's Black History Month, and every week, during the month of February, I'm going to have just different things to talk about to celebrate. It's the whole month is a celebration of Blackness, accomplishments and feats that African Americans have been a part of here in this country. So I'm just going to take a moment to talk about Ohio State's first black quarterback. Can you believe that? Like, what do you mean? They've always had a black quarterback. So, they've had a variety of quarterbacks for a long time, haven't they? Not really. So Ohio State's first black quarterback was a quarterback by the name of Cornelius Green. Cornelius Green, he was a quarterback in the early 70s. Same came in with Archie Griffin, 72 to 75. Outstanding career, at Ohio State. He ended up being a Big Ten MVP his senior season. And even though Archie Griffin won the Heisman Trophy, Archie, just the testament of the kind of man Archie Griffin is. Archie said, don't vote for me for the Silver Football Award. My teammate is deserving of it this year. Archie had already won it before, so he took his name out of consideration, and Cornelius Green went on and won it. That particular year. And Cornelius Green was also Rose Bowl MVP. He's in the Rose Bowl Hall of Fame. And just Ohio State has always been ahead of the curve. I mean, with Woody Hayes to play a black quarterback at Ohio State in the early 70s, that was huge. That was huge. I mean, because black quarterbacks weren't even allowed to play the position, and outside of HBCUs in major universities, not to mention the NFL, for a very long time in history. Who was the first black quarterback to play in the NFL? I don't really know who is the first, because there's a whole lot of different people that have played the position at various times. I mean, from Marlon Briscoe with the Denver Broncos, Joe Gilliam with the Los Angeles Rams. Joe Gilliam with Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm sorry, Steelers fans. James Harris of the Los Angeles Rams was, some of the early pioneer black quarterbacks in the, mid to late 60s, early 70s, long before Doug Williams came along in the mid 70s and played quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But that's been a position that one of the things in football, they had to break down the laws of segregation. It's like, well, black guys aren't smart enough to play quarterback. Black guys aren't smart enough to play middle linebacker. You guys are athletic, but you're not smart enough. We know those are myths, but that's what it was. And that has to be broken down, because I talk about, Black Lives Matter on the show. I forgot to mention, coronavirus, keep your social distancing, wear your mask. But those are systematic racism things that has to be broken down in America. Yes, we've made strides. I don't want to not say that. We've made, some leaps and bounds, but we still have a long way to go. But now, when you're a black African-American quarterback in high school or college, nobody's trying to change you. They're saying, hey, you have a certain skill set. Let's make that happen. And so I take my hat off to Cornelius Green, first black, quarterback in Ohio State's history. He was just born too soon. If Cornelius Green was born 40 years later, he probably would have had an opportunity to play in the NFL. As a running style quarterback. Not that he couldn't throw it. They isn't asking to throw the ball a lot. Why do you? You got that offensive line, Ohio State. You got a Heisman Trophy, two-time Heisman Trophy winner in the backfield. You're not going to throw the ball a lot. But if Lamar Jackson was back in those days, with 50 years older, he would be fortunate to have opportunity to play quarterback, because there's a great deal of quarterbacks, in high school. Once they got to college, their positions changed, or if they got the opportunity to play college quarterback in college, when they got to the pros, their position changed. Even, I'm not talking ancient history here. I'm talking about even as early as the 90s. There's a quarterback out of Florida State by the name of Charlie Ward, won the Heisman Trophy. Not only did he not get, go play professional football, he didn't get drafted. That way, he's a shotgun quarterback. He's always in the shotgun. He's never underneath this quarterback. Never takes a center. Never has a hand underneath the center to take a change. He's not a pro style quarterback. He's not. His game would never transition to the pros. He just won a national championship. Not even drafted. Thank God he was a good enough athlete. He played basketball also at Florida State, and he went on had a pretty good career for the New York Knicks as a guard in the NBA. But everybody who watched Charlie Ward knew he was a better football player than he was a basketball player. Not that he was a bad basketball player, because you don't play professional basketball being a bad player. So he was a darn good basketball player. But he was a better football player, but he never had the opportunity, to do that. So that's my Black History moment on the show today. So kudos to Cornelius Green. I played with a great quarterback that just happened to be black. And hopefully one day he'll get in the Hall of Fame, and that'd be Randall Cunningham. I'd be remiss if I'm talking about black quarterbacks and I don't mention his name. He is a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's not in there yet, but he's deserving. He's league MVP. Randall Cunningham should be in the Hall of Fame. And when he finally gets that call one day, hopefully soon, I'll be there celebrating right along with him. But I digress. I have a lot to talk about today. Man, before I'm going to mention it, just to make sure I get back to this part of the story, I have to talk about Chad Wheeler, former, well, he's ex now, Seattle Seahawks, domestic violence abuser. I'm going to talk about him some, not right now. I'm going to get to it before the show is over with. The national media have been extremely quiet overall when you compare what Chad Wheeler done and Ray Rice, just to name one name. I mean, Ray Rice is still, you hear his name, you still have a bad taste in your mouth from the national media. Oh, he should never play again where he beat that woman. Domestic violence. And he hasn't played anymore. But where's that same outrage for Chad Wheeler? That's grand opening, grand closing, that story. Come and gone. Not even, if we can talk about Ray Rice, we certainly can talk about Chad Wheeler. But before I want to come back, and before I go to the break, and just spend a few moments to talk about Alan Lattimore. He's a guard in high school for West Carrollton. And he's not just him, but a whole lot of other kids. He transferred his first 3 years. He was at Stivers High School. He transferred his senior year to go to West Carrollton. And Ohio High School, who I refer to as OHSAA, they have a rule concerning, transfers. When you transfer, and when athletes transfer, you have to sit out the first half. I mean, you're only eligible for 50% of the first half of the season. The second half of the season would mean in the playoffs, you're ineligible for it, whether that be football, basketball, track and field, what have you. Baseball, you can only play 50% of that team's schedule, and you can't play the second half. So no matter until the following year. So if you're a senior, there is no following year. If you're, junior, you're coming back for your senior, then you're okay to play the whole year. Well, I'm just bringing up Allen because there's other people in that same boat. So Allen transfers to West Carrollton, and he's only able to play half the season. But that would be under a normal season. When you have your games scheduled, you're going to play, let's say for example, 20. You got 20 games scheduled in your regular season plus playoffs. According to the rules, you're going to play 50%. That would mean 10. And you're not eligible for the second half of the season in the playoffs. We get that. Everybody understands that rule. But that's pre-pandemic rules. Now, when you have a pandemic, and it's been affecting kids since last year, since March of last year. You played a spring sport last year. You didn't even get on the field. You didn't even get the chance to play baseball, run track, softball, none of that. Then you transferred to the fall. We didn't think we was going to have a fall season either for all the fall sports. Football, golf, volleyball. Those athletes didn't think they were going to get their season in over the summer. Well, they was able to get some kind of a season in. I think what did Trotwood end up playing? I think Trotwood ended up playing 6 games, if I'm not mistaken, total. Some schools played less, a few schools played more. But it was a disjointed season. So now here you are in the winter sports, and it's also been a disjointed season. So what is 50%? So what is OHSAA, Ohio High School Athletic Association, have done, they've told the spring sports, we know you didn't get a season last year, and so hopefully you get a season this year, but all your kids are eligible. Whether you moved, you transferred, any point, you're automatically eligible to play spring sports, but you're not automatically eligible to play the fall and the winter sports. We're going to go with the old rule, the pre-pandemic rule. And I don't think that's right. I'm not trying to ask for favors or anything like that, but fair is fair is fair. I get, you have a rule, and you made one adjustment to that rule already by telling the spring sports students, we're going to waive that, you can't play, you're only eligible for the first 50% of the schedule, not the second half, including playoffs. We're going to waive it and say you're eligible for the whole season. Now, if you can do that for the spring sports, why would you not do that for the fall and the winter sports? Fall sports are over with now. That's a moot point. But it's just been brought to my attention, in the last week or so, they're not doing that with the winter sports, and they should be. And it's not too late. I know OHSAA has a meeting on this Thursday to discuss this matter. I know, and for one thing for sure, I know they're going to discuss Alan Lattimore's case, but his case is just one of the cases of many that will help set precedents on what you would do. So the long and short answer to that is what they need to do is make everyone eligible, whether you plan in the fall, what falls over with, whether you plan in the winter and the spring. Everyone has to be eligible. And not to mention, last year during the season, during the winter sports, they was in the playoffs. And COVID shut down the state playoffs last year. So those kids are already affected. So you're asking them to play double jeopardy, to pay the price twice. Not only did they not get to finish their season last year, as a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, Stivers High School had won the district. They were posed to make a state playoff run, but it got canceled. Some other people can say that also, but it got canceled. So you already punished them. Maybe that's not the right word. They've already paid a price, whether that happened to be punishment, but having their season been cut short once. So now here we are almost a calendar year later, 11 months into this pandemic. And here we go again. And we're going to use these pre-pandemic rules on what should be happening right now. No, OHSAA, you're wrong. And more people need to, either call in the show or send letters or your support and how you feel to OHSAA, because that is the only thing they're going to respond to. If we remain quiet, it will go on, and it's affecting a lot of kids, not just Alan Lattimore. He's just one of many. I mean, imagine how many people didn't get to go to their proms last year. And, so this year has been disjointed. And if we can, every state is different. Ohio's different than Florida. Florida's different than Massachusetts. But you're already seeing on the college level what is happening. And on colleges, players are opting in or opting out with no problem. If you're a freshman this year, you're going to be a freshman eligibility-wise next year. If you're a senior and you want to come back for another senior year, you're able to do that. And that's on the collegiate level. How much more can we do on the local high school level? Because on state of Ohio, that's without a question. We have one of the best sports, in the whole United States. I mean, Ohio sports are top notch. There's not a state that can say they are better than Ohio. Ohio competes in everything. Athletically, they can compete with Florida in athletics, Texas athletics, California athletics. Those are the big fours. We have great football players, great basketball players, great track and field, great baseball. You would have it. Which you won't. You have that in Ohio. And very few other states can compete with Ohio on that level. Michigan can't compete with Ohio when it comes to football from top to bottom. Only the states I mentioned, Florida, Ohio, Texas, California. And those were in Texas, California, and Florida rules are different than Ohio. So Ohio, let's do the right thing, because we always say it's about the kids. It's not about us. Well, it should be about the kids, because make no mistake about it. Very few people are going to college for whatever sports they're playing. Very few people go to college to play football. But a lot of them say, man, I played high school football. I enjoyed it. Very, very few people are going to college and playing basketball, but you're going to meet a lot of people. So, I played a lot of high school basketball, but that was it for me. And that's okay. So do not deny these people dreams, these kids' dreams. Put yourself in their position, OHSAA. You've been there before. You know how it feels. I mean, I get the academic part of it. I'm not disputing that. But part of, you have academic scholarships, sure. But nobody's going to Ohio State, University of Dayton, Cincinnati to watch a kid do a science experiment. We need those. Scientists are front and foremost on the lines right now, help us fighting this, COVID vaccine, COVID-19. Where they're helping out with vaccines. We love scientists, but we're not putting them on national TV to watch them conduct these tests. We know they're there. And how are they getting all that money? From athletics. The James Cancer Center is at Ohio State, and they're doing tremendous research, in cancer, and one of the top notches hospital here in the state of Ohio. But a lot of that money comes from athletics, because they want to be associated with it. That's why they get these endowments, because they're at the basketball game, at the football game. So don't downplay sports when it fits, your argument. Academics are very high on the stand, with me, but they also go hand in hand. So I would love, not just for Alan Ottermore, but a whole bunch of other kids that have the opportunity, because this is it. There are no more tomorrows after high school. You're a senior, this is it. Let the kids enjoy their senior season. Whatever sport that is. I mean, that's not just going to affect people that play basketball. It also affects, the wrestlers, who's transferred. And they have some stringent transfer rules. That's a different story for a different day. But today, there's always exceptions to the rule. And if you don't have it, we're in the midst of a pandemic. And we cannot make an exceptions during the pandemic, where we really about. And we really should be about the kids. They are our future. And we need to stand up and do what's right. So OHSAA, you have a big meeting on Thursday. Do the right thing and deem all these kids eligible to finish out their winter sports. You've already done it with the spring. So spring sports is okay. They was affected last year, just like the winter sports were affected. So do the right thing with them and deem all these kids eligible to fit up under, that's in your transfer portal. Whether they transfer as sophomores or seniors, they should be able to play, cheer or whatever their sport is, for the whole winter season. Do the right thing now, not this summer when we say, okay, we're going to go back and rewrite these rules. No, do it on the fly. We have the ability. You have the ability. Let's get it done. You're listening to the Keith Byars radio show presented by Lee's Famous Recipes. Check in. The phone number is 937-457-9464. Feel free to give me a call. We'll talk about more after the break.
It's the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, right here on Dayton's home of the Buckeyes, 1410 ESPN Radio.
Time is running out on your chance to enter the Rocket Mortgage Super Bowl Squares sweepstakes. It's the largest official game of Super Bowl Squares ever, with millions of dollars in prizes, and best of all, it's free to enter. Someone wins $50,000 every score change during Super Bowl 55. Touchdowns, field goals, safeties, extra points, even a pick six is a winner. Each time we pick a lucky winner from the square, they win 50 G's. Plus, two grand prize winners will win $500,000 they could use toward their dream home. Don't miss your chance to win. See rules and enter for free right now at RocketMortgageSquares.com. Then tune in on February 7th to see if you bring home some dough. Rocket Mortgage, official mortgage sponsor of Super Bowl 55.
No purchase necessary. Legal residents of the 50 U.S. and D.C. of age of majority. Ends 2/4/2021, 11:59 p.m. Eastern. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. The NFL entities as defined in the official rules is not offered to sponsor this promotion in any way.
Bucs tonight. It's the crossover event you've been waiting for.
It's gonna be weird fighting fires with other departments. I've never been to Texas. It'll be fun.
As the firefighters of 911 and 911 Lone Star join forces.
The blaze has consumed more than 180,000 acres.
The only way up that fire line is 1 foot.
For one epic.
We're gonna get you out of there!
Rescue.
We have one last shot. Let's turn the tide.
The 911 and 911 Lone Star crossover event. Bucs tonight.
This Valentine's Day, send your sweetheart the gift that shines above all others. Name a star after them. I'm Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For $54 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, we will name a star after your sweetheart and send a beautiful gift package. The new star name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Call the Star Registry, 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com for this year's hottest Valentine's Day gift.
Dutch Boy's new Platinum Plus paint with Stain Shield technology has the performance you expect from a luxury paint at a price you didn't. Platinum Plus is up to 50% more washable and stain resistant than a leading premium paint in satin sheen. Superiority ranges from 24 to 50% depending on sheen selected. Platinum Plus keeps your walls looking new longer. Menards and Dutch Boy Paint have you covered. Go ahead, live your life.
Listen to this radio station on the radio.com app. Discover and enjoy your favorite music, news, and talk radio from live stations across the country. Listen anywhere on all mobile and home devices with the radio.com app.
Looking for a career and not just a job? Then Dayton Progress is looking for you. Dayton Progress is the leading international manufacturer of tools and tooling components for the metal stamping industries and has immediate openings for entry-level machinist. No prior experience is required, and Dayton Progress will train you, starting with the basics. They offer competitive wages with merit increases after 90 days of employment. They also offer private health care, including vision and dental, free life insurance, a contributory 401k, bonus programs, promotions from within, company service recognition, and 100% tuition reimbursement to local state colleges. Dayton Progress is a great place to work and has been a Dayton landmark for over 70 years. Apply today by emailing your resume to jobs@DaytonProgress.com. That's jobs@DaytonProgress.com. Dayton Progress is an equal opportunity employer.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth partying with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Hindsight is 2020, and 2020 was a brutal year that for most of it felt out of control. But you know how you can be in control? You can be in control of your job, your career. Yes, in 2020, my computer career helped more people start IT careers than ever. Don't look back with 2020 hindsight next year and see yourself in that 2020 job. Take control. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, with 24/7 support and experienced staff at over 250 local branches. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
New to the Wendy's 2 for $5 lineup is their classic chicken sandwich. Go grab a 2 for $5 deal and pick two faves like the Dave Single Nugs and now the classic chicken sandwich 2 for $5. Price and participation may vary. Limited time.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzzed driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You can kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says, "I'm a catch," more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Dayton Flyers basketball fans, don't miss Talking Out Loud with Sully every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Game recaps, game previews, visits from former Flyer greats, and more. It's a show by the fans for the fans. Talking Out Loud with Sully, Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Wear red and be loud.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an intern here anymore. We want to hire you.
You're serious?
Absolutely.
Find your next great employee. Introduce yourself to the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
I won't let you down.
I know. Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Keith Byars Radio Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Phone number to call is 937-457-9464, or you can sit there and listen to me and talk some more about sports. I did the first half of the show, and I did not once bring up the Super Bowls this weekend, did I? I don't think I did. And so, Super Bowl is this Sunday. And I know it's the one thing I don't like about the Super Bowl is the Super Bowl pregame shows. I can't watch them no. I haven't watched them in years. They seem to be getting longer and longer every year. Let's add an hour. Pretty soon it's going to be all week long, the Super Bowl preview show. And I was like, man, I can't take it. So I got out of that game a long time ago. It was like, I can't listen. I just get to that game. I can't wait till Sunday. When does it kick off? 6:20, 6:25. That's what I love. It's like I do my own pregame show. So I'm gonna give you guys a shortcut too. So that's your prerogative. I don't know what you're doing on Sunday. That's our unofficial national holiday now, Super Bowl Sunday. Well, I know one thing you're not going to do. Hopefully you're not going to be in large gatherings. I didn't say you couldn't gather, but it's not large gatherings. Keep it tight to your bubble of folks that you've been in there with so you can enjoy this Super Bowl holiday Sunday in a good way. Now that I'm retired, and I'm no longer eligible for any more Super Bowls as a player, I was fortunate to get one, Super Bowl 31. It was on TV yesterday, 8:30 a.m. in case you missed it. I watched it. I was hoping for a different result, but nevertheless, I love watching the Super Bowl previews every year. Every year they just add another one. So this is Super Bowl 55. And the NFL channel, they used to start the day before the Super Bowl, but now so many it's just like it's a half-hour segment of a review of the previous Super Bowl, and they wrap it up in 30 minutes. So 54 Super Bowls they had to get through. So it's like one long continuous marathon. Yeah, but I kind of set my schedule to watch it. So I watched it again yesterday, Super Bowl 31, against, I was with the New England Patriots at the time, against the Green Bay Packers. And when I was in Philadelphia, we had, you got all kind of signs and stuff in your locker room. We had a sign in our locker room with the Eagles that said, offense sells tickets, defense wins games, special teams win championships. And I think back to Super Bowl 31, that's exactly, was the difference of that ball game. The offense sold tickets. It was Drew Bledsoe was a quarterback. Brett Favre was a quarterback for Green Bay. And the stars of the offense was, but for us, it was Drew Bledsoe, Ben Coates, Terry Glenn, Buckeye, myself in the backfield, Curtis Martin, Hall of Fame running back. We was the sales on offense. And for Green Bay, it was Brett Favre, Antonio Freeman, Bad Moon Rising, Keith Jackson, Tremor. They had weapons defensively, wins games. They had Reggie White. We had Willie McGinnis, nowhere near the same type of players. Love Willie, but he's no Reggie White. But it came down to special teams. And Desmond Howard had a 99-yard kickoff return against us in the Super Bowl, which he eventually won and deserving the Super Bowl MVP. We're down by 6 points. We scored it's a 6-point ball game. Momentum is going with us in New England. Our offense is rolling. Curtis Martin just ran for a touchdown. I had scored a touchdown earlier in the game, and we got the momentum, and we kicked the ball off. And next thing you know, we like, man, defense, we over there, defense, give us the ball back, give us the ball back. They like, yeah. We kicked the ball off, and 99 yards later, Desmond Howard takes a touchdown. They go for 2. We're down by 14 points again. It's talking about taking the air out of your championship. But, it's the fourth quarter. We still got time. But, Drew Bledsoe forgot what uniforms we were wearing, and he ended up with 4 interceptions that day. And, that's what the difference in the ball game. We go back to what I said earlier. Offense sells tickets, which we did. Defense wins games, which Green Bay's defense did when you take the ball away from your opponent 4 times. And special teams, which Green Bay did, wins championships. So I told that quick story to tell you Super Bowl previews, Kansas City Chiefs against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Who you got? Who do I have? Well, my gut is telling me Kansas City. My heart is telling me Kansas City. My head is telling me Kansas City. But it's something else you trying to think with, Keith? I don't know. Just something in the air is telling me don't count Tampa Bay out. Don't count out a team with Tom Brady on it out. And I'm like, we have already seen the game earlier in the season when, Tampa was still trying to find their way, but Kansas City was just like, do what you want. Wow. I mean, Tyreek Hill doing backflips in the end zone. Nothing's going to stop us except us. Why would I not think I'm going to see the same thing this Sunday? Because the Super Bowl, but these guys, they have Super Bowl experience. And my Super Bowl, now that I'm no longer playing, I want to see a good game. I want to see a fourth quarter game. I want to see the game won in the fourth quarter. And whoever I'm cheering for, I want them to win. That's a great Super Bowl Sunday for me. So I said that to say, but I'm not going to tell you just yet. I'm not going to tell you yet. But I will say this. This is my preview. Who has the best running back? Is Leonard Fournette better than the Chiefs running back? Edwards, Hilaire, or the Bevy or Williams. They got more than one running back. Running game, I'm going to get the edge, to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Who has a better offensive line, Tampa or Kansas City? I'm gonna say that's even. I think both offensive lines do a good job protecting the quarterback, and they open up holes for the running back. So that's even. Who has the better wide receivers? Kansas City or Tampa Bay? They both have Pro Bowlers, Evans for Tampa and Hill for Kansas City. I got to go with Kansas City because they got more. they have a few more. They have the edge of tight wide receiver. Who has the edge of tight end? We got Gronkowski and his backup. I can't even think of his name right now. Kansas City, they got Kelsey. Kelsey is a younger version of Gronkowski. Gronkowski is a shell of his old stuff. He can still make a play or two, but he's not the Gronkowski of 5 or 6, 7 years ago. So edge goes to Kansas City. That's defensively. Who's the better team? Oh, I need to talk about quarterbacks. I'll say that for last. Defensively, who has a better defensive line? Kansas City's Tampa, Sue, not much of a difference. I'm gonna count that as a wash, just like I did the offensive and offensive lines. It's a wash. Who has the better linebackers? Nobody really jumps off the page either way. That's a wash. Who has the better corners? Who has the better defensive secondary? I hope if Winfield is healthy enough to play in the Super Bowl, he's going to be more impactful than Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger. So I'm going to still say they're both about even, because Bledsoe can pick their secondary part just like Pat Mahomes can pick any secondary part. So it's about even that side. Who has a better coach? Is it Bruce Arians or Andy Reid? Bruce Arians has not won a Super Bowl. Andy Reid has won the Super Bowl. And Andy Reid has been to 2 Super Bowls. He's won 1, lost 1. Bruce Arians has been to 1 Super Bowl, lost it when he was with Arizona against the Steelers late. They had a lead. They are very, very good coaches. Very good coaches. They're both well-coached team. The coordinators on both teams are outstanding. I still can't believe Eric Bieniemy is going another year without a head coaching job. Byron Leftwich is matching him wits on the other side. So there is some really high level coaching out there. Todd Bowles is a good coach as well. So the coaching, I don't know if there's a clear cut edge. If it's the small edge, I had to go with Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy because they're the defending Super Bowl champs until somebody proves otherwise. And then the last question: who's the better quarterback? Who has the edge at quarterback? Not better. Who has the edge? Well, at this point in his career, Pat Mahomes is better than Tom Brady. Than Tom Brady was at his 4th year in the league. But who's going to be better on Sunday is really all that matters. Who's going to be better at Sunday? And at the end of the day, Pat Mahomes is a bad boy. And I think this is how it would be truly. He's already got the torch. As far as, who's the best quarterback in the NFL right now. Tom Brady, named just to be in the equation, is awesome experience at 43 years old. But Tom Brady, he didn't make my preseason top 5 quarterback list. He's not even making a postseason top 5 quarterback list. But Tom Brady is a special player. That being said, Pat Mahomes has the edge. So who's going to win the game, Keith? Who are you picking in the game, Keith? I'm going to pick the Kansas City Chiefs. I got Kansas City Chiefs winning. I would love for them to win by, 7 points or less. I don't get into the gambling part of it. 1 possession or less late in the game, that's what I would like to see. But if Tampa Bay wins the Super Bowl, I ain't going to be upset. I ain't going to be upset. I'll be happy for both teams, whoever wins. If Kansas City wins, it'll be a successful, one of the few teams that defend their title back-to-back. Has only been happened 6 times in the first 54 Super Bowls. They're trying to be the 7th team in 55 to do it. And if Tampa Bay wins, that'll be a great story, for Tampa, because the city has had an outstanding sports season. Calendar season. What's the hockey team name? What's the name of the hockey team? Tampa. The Lightning won the NHL champions, the Stanley Cup, right? I think they won the Stanley Cup in hockey. I'm not a hockey fan, but I was about to call them the Devil Rays. But they won it in hockey. The baseball team, barely lost the World Series to the Dodgers, and the Tampa has a chance to win the Super Bowl. The football team, it is Lightning. You still looking it up? I think it's the Lightning. They win it, the hockey. I want to say they beat the Kings in the finals because the Los Angeles had an outstanding season too. The Lakers win the Super Bowl. Win the World Championship. The Dodgers won the World Series. The Rams were in the playoffs with a chance to win the Super Bowl. But City of Tampa has done outstanding. So there are great storylines. The Lightning. Who they play?
The Kings.
The Kings. Yeah, they played Los Angeles. Yeah. So for a non-hockey fan, I think I did pretty good off that one. But it'd be great. It's a great storyline. So watch the Super Bowl. You know, I'm going to be at home watching the Super Bowl. I don't mind going over a friend's house watching the Super Bowl as long as my Eagles aren't in it, or the Patriots, or the Dolphins, or the Jets. The Jets, but they won the Super Bowl. Broadway Joe, he guaranteed it. That can happen. So before I wrap the show up, Chad Wheeler, Seattle Seahawks, domestic violence. You can go on the internet and fill his name up. The way he beat that woman, you know, that young lady, somebody's daughter, that was, you know, there's no room for that. And then, you know, after he beat her up, you know, choked her, thought she was dead. He choked her to unconsciousness, folks. Then she gets up, you know, he's in there eating, and he's talking about, oh, I thought you still alive, you know, because she wouldn't bow down to him. You know, now, I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't have any mental issues. Yes, he does, but the prison system can handle that. He needs to do some time. You know, and I am very anti, you know, I hate domestic violence. You know, I've never been a part of that. I've been blessed and fortunate to grow up in a household where that wasn't something that I ever saw. My father never put his hands on my mom, and vice versa. You know, I've never put my hands on a woman, you know, and vice versa. I don't grow up in those type of neighborhoods. I mean, in those kind of households, nor do I condone it, nor am I friends with anybody that does that. You know, because, you know, I was like, that ain't, you know, even when you sitting around a campfire with your fellas and you talk about different things, you know, putting your hands on a woman is not no subject that's going to ever be okay. You know, we talk about that, man. Can you believe this guy put his hands on a woman? Like, he did what? You know, whoever that person is. And we all know people that have done that. But there come repercussions. You have to, you know, you call people out on that. Because when does it end? When does it end? You know, so I hate domestic violence, and it should be dealt with, you know, seriously. So Chad Wheeler, get to know that name. He should never, I hate to say never, because we live in America. People get second chances. But we're not talking about second chances right now. We're talking about this here and now. We ain't talking about tomorrow. We're talking about today. And, you know, he put his hands on that woman. You know what I mean? And that young lady. That's just wrong as the day is long. I mean, you can see, you pull it up, you can see her pictures of her. What she looks like before the pictures and after the pictures. I mean, her face is swollen. You can't even hardly recognize her. Black eyes, bloody nose, lip. Oh, man. I mean, so I'm being graphic, you know, simply because sometimes when you say the words, you know, and a picture speaks much louder than the words. Because you say domestic violence, but when you put a face on it, and you see, you know, fortunately the survivor or the person that was the victim of it, you have a totally different ideal of what domestic violence is. It's not the sanitized version of a movie. Oh, the guy slapped a woman in an open hand across the face. Yes, that's disrespectful, and yeah, that shouldn't happen. But a lot of times it's 10 times, 100 times worse than that. So you go on the internet, punch in Chad Wheeler, and, you know, his name will come up, and you see, you know, his girlfriend who he hit. Oh, that's just terrible. And it's not acceptable in the NFL, and it's not acceptable in your job, in your coworker, not to just be on the NFL. I don't care what you do. You can be a school teacher, garbage man, doctor, lawyer. You put your hands on someone, there ought to be a price to pay. I don't care if you are great hands and you're a gifted physician. You don't need to be a doctor if you're going to put your hands on a woman. You don't need to be a lawyer if you're going to beat your woman to a pulp like that. Just not respectable. Not going to ever be acceptable on the Keith Byars radio show. I'm going to come out loud against that. My voice will be heard. I am very anti putting your hands on a woman. My parents told me, my mother told me, she said, Keith, a good run is better than a bad stand any day. So you get out, remove yourself from the situation before it even gets to that. Yes, that's conflict, you know, resolution. You got to learn how to do that. but you're never too old to learn. So Chad Wheeler needs to learn that lesson. Last thing before I go, rest in peace, the great Queen Cicely Tyson. Just an outstanding actress, activist, you name it. Cicely Tyson passed away over late last week. She was 96 years old. God bless her and her family. You've been listening to the Keith Byars Radio Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Happy Black History Month. I'll see you next week.
It's the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, right here on Dayton's home of the Buckeyes, 1410 ESPN Radio.